português. I can speak English.
Dale mamá con tu tacata.
When we opened the center 2015, we were talking about 18,000 breeding pairs. Today we are on 8,700 breeding pairs. So the number is still decreasing badly. Now they are critically endangered. Jaya Island alone, we are on 840.
Over the past 50 years, the numbers of penguins have dramatically declined. So they are projecting that they might be extinct by 2035. And nowadays, the biggest problem is overfishing, commercial fishing. The sardines and the anchovies that the penguins eat are being fished on commercial scale around the islands and the areas where the penguins breed, so they have to swim further and further to get food. And now we find that they cannot raise their chicks efficiently, the body mass decreases, so they are not strong enough. And then we have the little things like oil spills and bird flu that influences the populations, but that's on a much smaller scale than the actual lack of food that the penguins have at the moment.
When it comes to humans, I think if you go to a place like Boulders Beach, look the amount of people that are standing on those platforms and watching the penguins. So now you've got penguins that are nesting on one side of the Boulders Beach. And then you check them, if you go in the morning, how they walk off from the nest trying to get out at sea. But they've got this path, they've got people watching them. Some of them, they just stand there and watch, okay, that's my highway. But now all of a sudden there's a structure. So the small things that we need to minimize, not to go too much or overboard. See, yes, I understand that's a tourist attraction area, and sometimes there's too many tourists, and not all of them behave. That's another thing, because you see people when the selfie sticks arrive, and then people, they're not satisfied to stand here with a big lens camera, but they still want the selfie stick, and then now the nest is there, so they get really close, then they're not respecting the penguins.
And it adds a stress to the penguins.
Especially when they're sitting on eggs or when they're babies. Anything get too close in their house, they stress.
The lack of food not only affects the penguins in our area, in the Dyer Island area, it affects the food source for the seals as well. We have a huge population of seals just behind Dyer Island. There's a little island called Heever Rock that has about 60,000 seals on it. And now we find that the seals start hunting the penguins, and they just rip out the stomach of the penguins to get to the fish that are in the penguin stomach. They don't actually eat the penguin as such, they just go for the fish.
Got rangers that work for Cape Nature. They are patrolling at Agalas sometimes, and then the footage or the photos they send to us on the group, you see it's just the bones left and the skin, and that is the seal. When they deglove them, they grab and shake them.
Mm-hmm.
So most of our permanent residents, they have dislocated shoulders from the seal bite wound.
One parent alone cannot look after two chicks. One parent need to either look after the chicks, especially when they're small, and protect them, while the other parent goes out hunting for fish. When the chicks become bigger, both parents might go out.
One must go and find food. So if it takes a day or two not returning with food, and then the one that is sitting now babysitting, it's got nothing to feed the chicks, then it's got no choice but to leave the nest and try and find food. So in that case, you're talking about the chicks that are less than 200 grams. Then the seagulls will attack those babies. If they have this penguin house, they're still safe, but they might die from starving. But if it's an open nest, because we've seen few areas on the island where they're breeding outside, seagulls will attack those chicks, will take them. So here I've got Stella, came in as a baby, missing one eye, from the seagulls.
So we often find abandoned chicks. Penguins normally lay 2 eggs and they raise 2 chicks, and they would often favor feeding one chick, the stronger of the 2 chicks. So we sometimes find that one of the chicks are thin and much smaller than the other one. If we find a chick like that, we will observe it for a few days, and if we see that its condition is deteriorating, we will remove it from the island, and then the chick will be raised here.
What is important about the adults is that if we lose one adult and then the other one loses partner, it's got 3-4 years of waiting to get a new partner, because the others, they are committed to their partners. They choose one mate for life.
Luckily, we have had some new legislation that was implemented in February by the Departments of Fishery and Forestry. They have closed off areas around the breeding grounds of the penguins, that no commercial fishing are allowed in those areas. It's too early to see whether that will actually have a visible effect on the penguin population, but we're really hopeful that the penguin population will slowly start to increase again. So there's a lot of people that are they need their work, and they need to earn a living to feed their families, but unfortunately it can't be at the expense of nature and at the expense of our penguins.
It's crazy how before I come here, I've never seen a whale and a penguin in real life, and just by being here and experiencing this, it's so scary to know that the next generation might not ever see this.